And you left us off the end of last episode with something I never thought I would ever hear. So I need to start off immediately with that. Because
Okay.
I was like, what the hell are you talking about? So go ahead.
So to intro this, being a medic, right? I'm an active duty medic. You're a veteran medic. I firmly believe that everyone has their icks when it comes to medical.
Oh, yeah.
What is yours?
Toenail removal.
Okay. I can see that. Not my biggest fan.
A scalpel scraping a bone.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty
It's a very
gross.
specific one. That's it.
That's a pretty... Mine is vomit.
Really?
I can't. I can do anything else. Bone, guts, blood, toenails, the skin flakes, literally anything. If you gag at me once, I am out.
Do you sympathetically gag?
No.
Are you one of those?
No. Nope. I literally can't do it though.
Is it the smell? Is it the sound? Is it the visual?
I'll be so honest with you. It's the after. I'm scared that I'm going to get sick from whatever you just threw up from. I can deal with it in the moment. Don't get me wrong. Like, I can deal with it in the moment of like things, but it's the after effects.
Really? What about when you throw up?
We don't. We just don't talk about it.
You know, I can't stand throwing up. I'd rather die of whatever illness I have than throw up.
Yep.
I can't do it.
Yep.
I hate it.
Same standpoint.
Can't stand it.
Well, I think that every medic has their journey, and I think that every medic has to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere. So,
Riley, you are milking this so freaking hard.
I am. And when I tell my students this story, there's nowhere that I fit this story in, right? You know, with certain things that I teach, there's certain ways that I can slide different like stories in. This story fits in nowhere. No point does the story fit in. So
I've been waiting. I've been freaking waiting to hear this.
We're throwing it back to baby medic. If you guys don't know, there's really two parts of becoming a medic. It's your part 1 where you're learning like the foundational skills and everything, and then you go off to your phase 2. So it's phase 1 and phase 2.
Phase 1, you get your EMT cert.
Yeah, so that's what we're all certified in. We're all EMT basics is what we are. So in phase 2, you are actually working in the hospital. You're being precepted. You have all that stuff. You have someone with you. So baby medic Riley.
So excited to hear this.
Airman basic Riley. I had a patient, and it was a very simple task. It was a very simple task that like I could do on my own. It was bringing this patient their lunch, dinner, breakfast, whatever it was. That's what it was. This patient was very, very old. They were dementia, like all kinds of stuff, right? So I would bring the food in. This story spans really over like 2-3 days. So I'd bring the food in the room. They were on like a liquid, like a clear food diet, just because of everything else that was going on. And every time that I would walk into the room, there would be lemon jello. There'd be lemon jello like thrown across the room. You know, wasn't really a big deal. Clean it up. It's part of the job. Move on. Whatever. Next meal, same thing. Lemon jello. We had to bring this patient down to, it was like CT or imaging of some type. And I saw the lemon jello, and I was like, I think that this patient is like putting it in their pockets or like something. Like I think that they're like hoarding this jello. Why?
Okay, so it wasn't like a jello cup that you're finding. It was like mushy jello.
Yeah,
somewhere.
Like
okay.
Jello. So flash forward, you know, like a day and a half, like we're really at like the end of like day 2 of this all happening. And I go in and I pick up the tray. I go to turn, and it was like out of a cartoon. Like both of my legs go flying out from underneath me. The tray goes flying in every single direction. And I am on the ground, right? I have the blue scrubs on. I'm laying on the ground, like, like gasping for air because it took all of the wind out of me, right?
Oh my
God.
So
I'm laying there on the ground. I finally like find like my bearing and whatever. Patient's in the bed, has no idea what is happening. Patient's in the bed. I'm on the ground, and I start feeling around on the ground, and it feels wet. So what do? You sniff it. It was at that moment that I realized it was in fact not lemon jello, but it was anal mucus.
Oh my god! What does that even mean?
So essentially, this patient was dying. And whenever they would get up and like move around, they were leaking.
Oh.
They were leaking anal mucus. I thought it was lemon jello. It was not. And I landed in a puddle of it. It was like in my hair, like up my. It was everywhere. It was everywhere. But believe it or not, that didn't gross me out. What did
you do? Because obviously your scrubs were wet. Your hair was wet.
Yeah.
Did they let you go home and shower?
Absolutely not. I went back to the locker room and I showered and then I changed scrubs and then I was back out on the floor. Nope. Showered. I'm almost positive that I used Dove bar soap. Washed my hair. I just moved on. That was it.
What did you tell anybody? What did they say?
I don't remember them saying anything. I remember them laughing at me. I remember my preceptor laughing at me.
Were you the one that found out it was anal mucus, or because that's a baby medic right there, right? So did you identify what it was, or did you explain? Oh, you knew.
It was the smell.
Oh,
it was the smell. And then I told the nurse, and the nurse went in there, and she was like, "Yep, that's anal mucus." And I was like, "Didn't even know that was a thing." And whenever I tell that story, they're like, "I didn't know that anal mucus was a thing." It is in fact a thing. It is definitely a thing. Did you see a delivery before phase 2?
No, that was my first one in the military. First delivery.
Yeah.
I cried.
Really? I did not. Mine was traumatic.
Oh no, what happened?
So we go in the delivery room and the patient is a very large woman. It's a very large woman. Mm-hmm. It's fine. Whatever. She had an epidural. The father was very small man. Very small. Which does play into this story. And when I say I'm 5'1", right? Mm-hmm. I was taller than this man. He was amazing during the whole labor. Like he was like, "I love you, baby. Like I love our family. I love you. Like I love our baby. Like all of this stuff. Like super sweet, super sweet."
And so it sounds like there wasn't their first child either.
It was. It was their first baby. Yeah, it was their first baby. They were both really excited. Like it was very, very sweet. So she has the epidural. She gets to 10 centimeters. Docs come in, nurses come in, all the other techs come in. I'm standing in the corner with 3 other girls. So all 3 of us are in the corner. And he's holding her leg, like kind of in like an odd position, like over his shoulder. Everything's fine.
Was that when she's pushing?
Yeah, as she's pushing. So if you don't know, it's really, really common to poop while you're pushing because it's very hard to tell a woman to push from your uterus. Like I could sit here and tell like a woman that, and they're like, what does that mean? So we tell
with the epidural too.
Yeah. So we tell women to push like they're pooping because it's kind of the same muscles that are being used. So a lot of women poop during delivery. It's not a big deal at all. It gets wiped away, throw it away, keep moving on. So the patient had pooped, and the way that the doctor had wiped it, he kind of wiped it in like an odd way. So when the dad went to go readjust, he got the poop on him. Mm-hmm. He didn't know that. He does like a weird like little swipey motion. He gets the poop on him. So gets the poop on him. The doc is like, "Hey, sir, you have a little." He like looks down. He goes, Is that fucking shit?" Turns around, throws up, passes out. Her leg goes flying off of the bed. She is screaming. He is on the ground. The nurses run over to him. I'm traumatized in the corner of this room. Like, what just happened? The doctor starts yelling because like her leg is like falling off the table. Because again, she's a very large woman. She has an epidural. She has no control. Yep. We ran over. We grabbed her leg, put her leg back up in the stirrup. The dad is like rocking like in the corner, like what just happened. No. She had the baby. Everything was fine. That was the first birth I ever watched.
That was your first intro to delivery?
That was my first intro to delivery.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yep.
Dang.
I did not cry. I did not cry. I was
You're
traumatized.
stressed.
Oh, I was so stressed. I was so stressed. The second one that I watched, first time mom, again, she wanted to labor naturally, like as long as she could, whatever. So typically with first time moms, labor takes like a lot longer than in multi-provisional women. So she had come in and I could hear her like screaming. I could hear her screaming from outside of the room. And I had asked the nurses because she was there when I had gotten on shift, and they were like, yeah, like, you know, she just came in. She's like 3 centimeters. Like she has a while to go, like blah, blah, blah. Screaming continues for about an hour. We go in the room to check on her. Mom is on all fours on the bed. And the dad is like standing kind of like further back in the corner, just kind of like watching everything happen.
Yeah.
As we walk into the room, the baby comes out. And she just like instinctively like grabs the baby and like pulls the baby up, like flips over, and is like, I did it. And I was like, first time.
The
baby was huge too. Baby was huge. Yeah.
Wow.
And then the doctor came in, she delivered the placenta in the next couple of minutes, cut the cord, boom, boom, done. Everything was done.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
It was super impressive.
First time? And you delivered by yourself without a doctor?
Yeah. Literally by herself.
Have you heard of those people that like eat the placenta?
I have. My students always ask me this question. We also talk about lotus births, right? I'm not a mom. I feel like I don't really have much room to judge. I feel like from a medical standpoint, so lotus births it's a very holistic approach to medicine, but they deliver baby, and then typically we wait for the cord to stop pulsing, clamp, cut the cord, placenta comes out, naturally detaches, whatever. With this, they don't detach the cord. They allow the placenta to deliver, and then they keep baby connected to the placenta until it naturally falls off.
How long does that normally take?
Couple weeks, but you have to think the placenta is an organ. It's literally an organ. So they'll like dry it out with like salt and like rosemary, lavender, like that kind of stuff. But wherever baby goes, like the placenta has to go with it. And like we talk about baby and placenta. God, I'm instructing right now is what I'm doing.
No, that's what you do. You're good. You're good.
It's it's like a balance, right? So like if we hold baby above the placenta and it's still connected, all blood from baby is going to go to placenta, vice versa. But if you have this rotting piece of meat,
that's what I was thinking. I was like, it's a decaying
blood in it.
Yeah.
And if you go like this, just the risk of really bad infection and like sepsis is like really, really high.
I was about to ask about going septic. I'm like,
yeah, but it's a very holistic approach to medicine. But yes, I have heard of people eating their own placenta. Again, I don't have a medical degree. I've done like some research into it, and there is like vitamins and like minerals and stuff. But essentially, it's from what I've read, it's the same as also taking a prenatal. So
prenatal. Have you heard about the controversy with prenatals?
I've not. Did you get prenatals when you went to basic?
I was just thinking that.
Big ass pink pills.
Yeah, I took them.
So did I.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys know this, but in basic training, if you're a lady, if you're a girl going through, they will give you prenatals if you want. We didn't know why. They told us it was for iron.
Yeah, they told us the same thing. They told us that they told us it was the equivalent of a multivitamin. And I remember I just turned 18. I looked down and it literally said prenatal vitamin and a photo of a pregnant, like it was like a pregnant cartoon on the front. And I was like, it's very confused. And then we opened them and they were huge. But after the peanut butter shot, that's the day that we got them. They told us to sit on them and roll out your butt cheek. The men didn't have that.
No, but they got the peanut butter shot.
Yeah.
Did you have, how many people did you guys have pass out after the shot? I had like 3. I had 3 people.
I don't think anyone, actually. I don't think anyone passed out. Yeah.
Oh, it was also in the middle of summer. So maybe the heat and like a vasovagal reaction did it in for them.
Yeah, I went in the winter. I was there for Veterans Day, Christmas, and New Year's.
Did you go home for Christmas?
No, they don't let us. They don't let us because basic is so short.
It is compared to the other branches. I heard something. I don't remember if it was for basic for the Army.
I think the Marines do it. I think the Marines go. They send them home during Christmas for basic.
Is that what it is?
I think so. I think the Army does it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. They do Operation Home Cooking. Operation Home Cook. Home Cooked, I think is what it is. But basically, different families in San Antonio sign up to take a trainee in for Thanksgiving Day, and they'll like feed them like Thanksgiving dinner. But my flight was the cutoff flight, so we didn't end up. We didn't go.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that would make it better or worse.
From what I heard, a lot of people really liked it because, you know, a lot of the families are like veteran families. Like a lot of active duty families will take someone in and they'll just like give them a phone for the day and let them like FaceTime and call and like do whatever. And you get a free cooked meal out of it. So
did you have your phone in basic?
No. We got to call on Thanksgiving. We got to call on Christmas, and then we got to call right before we graduated. But they like locked it. It was like downstairs in CQ.
We got our phones.
Wow. But you were also a COVID baby, weren't you?
Yep. That was during COVID. So they, for safety reasons, let us have our phones.
What's safety reason?
So like, for example, we had a couple moms where their infant or young children or family members, geriatric, older, got COVID. And this was during the time where we didn't know a lot about COVID, but we were having a lot of mortality rates, right? So for those moms or family members, I was in a female flight, so it was moms. Yeah. They were allowed to leave basic training if there was like a disaster like that, or if their kid got COVID. And this was when we didn't know what COVID was. We just knew people were dying. It was going everywhere. Yeah. So we were allowed to have our phones to have more check-ins like that.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it was a really weird time.
Yeah. They get iPads now.
In basic?
They get iPads in basic now.
Shut up. To do what?
Like everything that they need is on their iPads. And what's that book called?
Oh, the
like
airman thing.
Yeah, it's like a handbook that they give us during basic.
Yeah,
of like all like the knowledge of like the Air Force and what you need to know and like that kind of thing. It's all on the iPad. They can file like comments on the iPad. So like
they have a comment section in Air Force basic training.
Yes.
Shut up. Nobody can know this. No other branch can know. We get it. We already have it. Oh, no.
Maybe we won't include that. I don't feel the backlash on that one. I can already hear it coming. That's why
the Air Force gets freaking iPads.
Yeah.
Oh, we're cooked.
Hey, that was pretty Gen Z of you.
Cooked?
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. Go.
Hey, thank you.
That was good.
Yeah. Proud millennial here, and we got Gen Z, Riley.
That was good.
So it's cool.
My students taught me the other day, and I honestly I don't know if this is a Gen Z thing. My students started doing this, and I love it, and I've started doing it because I think it's hilarious. So
what is it?
I was teaching something. And I don't even remember what it was. I was absolutely going off. I was going ham on this subject. And a student asked a question. I was going in on it. And I start to see probably like 10 of my students all go like this. And I was like, this.
With the finger?
Yes, like this. And I was like, what is this? And they go, clocked. And I go, what? They said clocked. And I go, what does that mean? They were like, you clocked that. Like, that was amazing. Like, you clocked. Like, when you clock something.
All I know is like clock, like you clock, or you're clocking in and
it's
out.
It's either like you did something really good, clocked. You clapped back at someone, clocked. I love it. I love it so much.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What does this mean?
Oh, that's a young thing. That's a very young thing. I think it's. Oh God,
do you know what that is?
I know it's not old. I think it's like Riz.
Riz?
Dude, I didn't even know what Riz was until my class told me. I feel like such an old 24-year-old. Riz literally is short for charisma.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
The thing I've been seeing is Huzz. Huzz. Like Huzz.
Like not a hussy, right? But
No,
huzz.
Huzz. I don't know what it means, to be honest with you.
Huh. What does huzz mean? Leave it in the comments down below,
Are we old?
please.
Is this?
No, it's just the iPad babies have evolved.
Oh, it's the slang. It's the slang. It's a lot.
I think when I was younger, the slang was bad. I remember when that came out. Like, yo, she bad.
She bad.
And I was like, why is
the ratchet phase?
Ratchet? Yeah.
Everything was ratchet.
Ratchet.
What about this phase?
Oh, heck yeah. Duck lips, peace sign. Freaking hit on the hip.
The pieces mean different things. Like there was this one, and then there was this one.
No. What is that?
Okay. I don't know, but I remember doing it.
They meant different things?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. How do you make your heart? Make your heart. Okay. All right. I'm there with you on that.
My students did teach me this one, though.
Yeah, this freaking, which is like an exercise.
This one.
That's cute. I know that one. That's the Korean heart.
It's the Korean heart. So when I teach my students to put OPAs in, I used to teach, we call this like the finger snap method. And one of my students goes, oh, it looks like a little Korean heart. So now I call it the Korean heart method.
And you know what's funny? Like the heart right here, right? Looks like a heart. But actually the two valves as well as the organ of the heart itself. Wow. I realized that recently. I was scrolling and I saw that and I was like, ooh, that's kind of cool.
I have to do with this one. I have an oddly shaped thumb, so it's not the same effect.
Do
you want to see my thumbs?
Yeah. What's with your thumbs? Oh, one's longer than the other. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. They're very different sizes.
Which hand are you dominant in?
Right. This one.
Your right hand? And it's that one?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
I know.
Did you ever get made fun of them for them? I feel like you can't tell. Unless, like, I literally never would have noticed unless you pointed it out and were like, here's a side-by-sides comparison.
Yeah. I used to tell people when I was younger that I was born without a thumb. So they took my big toe off and they put it on my thumb. And then they would ask me, well, where's your big toe? And I would tell them that I had a hot dog on my toe. I don't know why. I think there was an iCarly episode about that. And I just...
You were psychologically traumatizing these poor other little kids going home. Mom, there's this girl that didn't have the thumb and there's a hot dog and the toe and it's all there.
She smells like hot dogs, and I finally figured out why. I was fat too, so.
Were you a chunky little kid?
Not little. I was not a little kid. I was 15 and I was like 200 pounds.
Were you really?
No, I was like 14. Yeah.
You're tiny. Right now, look at you. You're tiny.
I was large and in charge.
I mean, a lot of people would I'm sure would love to know how did you shed that off? Yeah.
Very unhealthily, to be honest with you.
Oh no.
Yeah. So
did you lose it before the military?
Yeah. Yeah. I went into basic. I was probably like a good 125 going into basic. Did you gain weight in basic? Or did you lose weight?
I lost it in basic, but by the time I got out, I was bigger. I was about 145. And now I'm at 108.
Wow, you're tiny.
Girl, you look like you weigh the same.
I do, but
you dork.
Okay, no, I gained weight in basic because I don't
muscle. You had to have been.
I think that was definitely a part of it, but I also don't think you're shoveling food. You have less than 10 minutes to eat, and that's it. You're not snacking or anything. So I think that definitely also played a part in it.
You think it was fat? I feel like it would have totally been muscle unless you were a super strong runner beforehand. Oh, no. I know my legs, my calves, my back from all those push-ups, sit-ups. I might have gained some weight, but I looked better.
Yeah, no, I'm still a terrible runner.
I hate
It's
running.
really slow. I don't enjoy running. I was about to say I enjoy it. That's a lie. No, I don't.
You're
I
petite.
do it.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, I have very small legs.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, running timed when you're under, like, 5, 6 just
Yeah.
sucks in
Oh
general.
yeah.
It just sucks.
Do you have any stories?
Oof. My problem is remembering them. I probably have a bunch. I'm trying to think of happy-ish ones. Um, honestly, the only stories I remember from being in was when I heard something so outrageous that I just got so mad.
Mm.
I got so mad. Like, there is a situation, you know, there was a patient who was recently pregnant, recently found out she was having a kiddo. And so she was placed on a maternity profile, right? So can't deploy, all that good stuff. Her supervisor was doing a morale activity. They're doing like flag, tackle, touch, whatever the Air Force football is. And so she told her supervisor, like, hey, I don't want to play. I'm pregnant. Like, right. I don't want to do anything that could be potentially contact. Supervisor says, you're playing. She gets hit in the stomach, calls us, is like, what do I do? Everything was fine. Everything was fine. But when she called us, we went and told our medical director, and our medical director was not someone to be messed with. And so they pulled their rank, and they were like, who the hell was this supervisor that went against my profile and was making someone who was pregnant play something combative? Like, give me your name. And I'm like, I've never seen a group of doctors get together so fast, become so enraged, and contact literally someone's like unit so fast.
Yeah.
So
she was okay though?
Yeah, she was good. She was good. Baby's good. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. But just like my medical stories are things like that. Did you hear about the freaking pseudofolliculitis profile not being allowed anymore?
Well, it's not that it's not allowed anymore. They're just not allowing for the 5-year one anymore.
So is it going back to the 1 year? Or are they just
I
not
could
having
be
the profile?
completely no, they do have the profile still. I could be completely wrong, but I believe it's either 12, 15, or 18 months.
Oh, that's what it was at. I don't know why it became such a big deal.
Well, because they were giving the 5-year ones, and then
Yeah, so that just means that they
got
need
rid
to.
of it.
Yeah, I remember when they enacted the 5-year. Everyone was super happy. It was just less paperwork.
Yeah.
Right.
For everybody involved.
Yeah. Okay. I thought, for the way I was seeing it online, was like, I don't know, people were saying that it was like going away and people were getting kicked out if you're on this profile. And I was like, I didn't look into it at all. But if it's just going from 5 years to like a couple months, that just means you need a follow up to make sure that your irritation and however that condition is to be treated is healing, which makes sense.
Unpopular opinion, I think that the beards look good.
You're for the beards in the military?
If they're well
If they
kept.
look good.
I think, okay, so being medical, right? Like, we know how the waivers are supposed to work, that you're not supposed to shave at all.
Yep.
Their neck beards are gross. They are. If you the hair down here, but I think that if they were able to, which kind of gets rid of the point of having the waiver, right? But like if they're able to like clean it up, like I think that looks good.
So you're a fan of it?
I think that, yeah,
it can look professional. What's your opinion on people that say you can't have the facial hair because you can't get a clean seal? What is your point? What's your take on that?
There's a
for the gas masks.
Yeah, there's a video. I don't think that he's like an actual creator. I could be completely wrong, but I remember he's like a master sergeant or like a senior master sergeant, full religious accommodation, beard, like a long beard.
Yeah. Pagan or Muslim?
Yeah, I think he was pagan, I believe.
Yeah.
He puts the mop gear mask on, does the whole thing, and he was like, proof that you can get a seal with the beard, like blah blah whatever. But I'm not Seaburn, so I feel like I don't really have much of a saying that one, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know the science of it. I'm pretty I don't really have an opinion
Yeah.
on that. What do you think about just hypothetically, do you think we would get more people to join the military just staying on topic of things that are like allowed, not allowed, whatever, if people could take steroids? What do you think? Would you agree with that?
So I feel like this is common knowledge. Maybe not. Maybe we'll have to do our research and then cut this out if not.
You're medical.
Yeah.
So you got it might be common knowledge for like us.
Yeah. So steroids are not tested on a regular drug panel. Like when you get called up by your CSS to go pee for your freedom, like that's not, they're not testing for steroids. Like you have to be suspected and accused of taking steroids to be tested for steroids.
Yes.
I think that a lot of people who do cycles of stuff, and I'm not big into like the fitness community. Like, you know, like I take care of like my personal health, but like I'm not, you know, I think that a lot of people,
you fit.
I am, but like I'm not in the fitness community, you know?
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
I think that a lot of people don't do their research when it comes to cycles and what they're taking. And they have a coach, and the coach gives them a black bag of unlabeled medications with a thing of syringes and is like, hey, here you go, here.
Yeah.
I think that people also sometimes don't realize the long-term effects of steroid use and like what it can do.
Especially for men.
Yeah. Like I know people, they're not in anymore, but like I know people who have do steroids in the military.
Yeah.
Done. They're all out now, but
there's a lot that are in that take it.
Yeah. I don't, from like a medical standpoint, probably not. I understand like going to get like your testosterone levels checked, and like if you have low testosterone, like, you know, getting on that, or like dealing with like male infertility and getting on HCG or HGH. I think that's a little bit different, but yeah.
See, I'm different. I'm thinking like I'm totally for steroids for particularly like muscle building purposes. I think we get more people. I think we get retention. I think people are taking it anyway, and it put them under a provider like mindset. And this is public knowledge. You think people aren't taking that in other units?
What the fuck does the dude from finance need to be taking steroids for?
Because finance has to deploy, and when they have someone when they overpaid a troop, or a troop hasn't paid back, they need to go and like.
Yep. The Air Force is finance. Here to fuck you up. More ways than one.
Did you hear about the dude that just got caught with like selling $2.3 million worth of military gear? Viva La Vargas did a video on it. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Do you want to hear a wild story? So
story. Let's go.
So the bombing in Kabul had happened, right? And all the refugees were being displaced. They were evacuating all the refugees, and where I was one of the central locations to where refugees were going to come. So, you know, they started preparing us and like teaching us like some like simple like phrases of like what to do, and like learning like different things about the culture and like blah blah blah. We've been doing.
Remind me during that time. So if I'm trying to see if I remember correctly, we had in the military such need for medics that we considered it a deployment, actually, to like get people to go out there, right? Like there's like a huge need for medics. Okay, I just want to make sure I'm tracking the same thing.
So what ended up happening was because I was stationed at one of the bases, like they just essentially made us all go work. And then there was an issue because a different command was supposed to take over. And then it was actually Navy command who ended up taking over the unit, but they didn't show up for a couple weeks. So we were.
Did the other commander already leave, or was there no changeover?
To be honest with you, I don't even know what happened. Like I had I had like, I know that people are going to come. I had like, I'm doing quotation marks if you're listening, but I had quote unquote like deployed for like the FEMA operations with the Army
Yes.
National Guard for the COVID vaccines.
Mhm.
And they had sent like, I met one of my really good friends, Parker. He was ammo, right? Like super random. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing here, dude? And he's like, I don't even know. But
those are crazy times.
Yeah, but he was out there with me, and then he actually ended up coming back out for like the refugees. So we were on a 30-minute recall. So, you know, if they texted us, we had 30 minutes to get back to the base. So I was living with Kayla at the time, and Kayla at the time had a very large golden retriever named Charlie. And
what a great name.
I know. We had driven to work together that day, which wasn't normal for us. Like typically we would drive separately, but we had driven to work together that day because that day was Jersey Day at work. So if you work in the med group, we have like dress down days, and this specific day was a Jersey Day. So Kayla tells me after work, she was like, hey, like, we just have to stop at the vet really quick and get Charlie's like special diet food. And I was like, okay, fine, whatever. It's literally on the way home. We get in the car and she's like, ooh. So they ordered it to the wrong clinic. And I was like, okay, like, where is it? So it was an hour in the opposite direction. So, you know, we drove together. It's my best friend. I was like, dude, I don't want to go. And she was like, you literally don't have a choice. So, you know, we start driving. We're probably about 5 minutes out from the vet when I get the phone call from our flight chief. Hey, they're landing in an hour. Ooh, sir, there's an issue. We're about probably an hour and 20 minutes out. And he was like, you know, we start getting lit up because we were wrong. We were on a 30-minute recall. We weren't supposed to go outside of that radius. We had gone outside of that radius to get the dog food. So he was like, get your shit and get back. And we were like, yes, you got it. So I hop into the back seat. I start changing into my uniform. We pull up at the vet. I hop in the driver's seat. Kayla gets in the back seat. She starts changing into her uniform. We are just driving. We're in the middle of nowhere. It is a completely straight road, and probably maybe every like 15, 30 seconds, there's a house like on our left-hand side, and then just straight woods on our right-hand side.
So like a rural kind of area?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, and it was completely flat and straight. And probably like a couple miles up the road, I see cars like blocking the road, and there's like hazard lights on and like everything. And I asked Kayla, and I was like, should we stop? And she was like, I don't really think that we have a choice. Like, you know, like it looks like a car accident. Like we should probably stop. So I was like, okay. So we stop and we get out of the car, and there's like 3 or 4 guys like standing outside of the car, and we were like, hey, like, are you guys okay? Like, we're medics. Like, do you need anything? And they just kind of like looked up, and we look over, and there is a baby like in the woods. And we were like, I was
human infant,
like a human baby, like probably just old enough to start walking. The baby was not wearing any clothes. The baby was wearing a very, very soiled diaper, and the baby was very, very dirty. So I'm like, it's very hard to like conceptualize like finding a literal baby in the woods. And the fact that like, I don't know, but Kayla didn't have a second thought and like, you know, ran over to the baby, like picked up the baby and like had the baby. She brought the baby over. The baby was dirty, but like he looked okay. Like just visually looking at him, like he wasn't crying, like he was just fine. He probably was like maybe a year old, like just able to start like teeter walking.
Oh.
So at this point, like everybody, the other guys had like called 911, and like me and Kayla are like standing there with the baby, like trying to like soothe the baby and like comfort the baby and like do whatever. And please show up. And he was like, I don't like it. This just like, doesn't make any sense. So we walked over to the house that was like kind of like diagonal. It was probably like a couple minutes walk from, at least for this baby, it would have been a very, very long walk, but it was probably like 5-minute walk from like the point where we were to like this house. And we showed up, we like went to the house, and it was a very rundown house. It was a very rundown house. And the police officer knocks on the door, and this young kid, maybe 7, 8 years old, answers the door. And the kid looks at us and he like turns around and he goes, "Mom, the baby got out again." And like 30 seconds later, a woman walks up to the door and she takes the baby and she was like,
What?
like, "Damn it, like I can't believe that you got out again, like blah blah blah." And like she was probably on drugs.
I was about to
I'm
say.
making an assumption here. You could tell that there was some stuff going on. And Kayla was like, she was like, "You're yelling at him for getting out of the house, like you did this, like you didn't like." And I was like, "All right, Kayla, like, you know, it wasn't productive in that moment for
Yeah.
that to happen. So, you know,
Hard
please."
to not say that
Yeah,
though, or at least
absolutely,
feel it as bad.
absolutely.
God, I
But
can't.
yeah, the police were there though. So, you know, we give the statements, we get back in the car, and both of us are just silence, just
Yeah.
complete silence. And like, I get a phone call and she gets a phone call, and like my partner at the time like just got hit with like a 12-hour notice deployment, and her partner at the time just got hit with a 12-hour notice deployment. And like we just found a baby and now we're about to go, and like we were still up in the air like if we were gonna go out there or not. And like
Yeah.
just complete silence. And it was a lot. Like it was a lot. So
I can't
we
imagine. That sounds so
yeah.
overwhelming.
So we end up like, you know, we just worked 12 hours. We just worked an entire day, and we show back up and it's like it was late at this point. And you know, we find our flight chief and we're like, "Listen, like we understand and we take full responsibility that we were outside of the radius, but we found a baby in the woods." Me as an NCO now, right? I was a senior airman at the time. I think I might have had a line number for staff. I did. I might have been a staff actually. Very baby staff if I was. Like didn't know anything about leadership or anything at that point yet. Me as an NCO now, if I have an airman come up to me and tell me, "Sorry, Sarge, we were late. There was a baby in the woods." I am looking at you like you have 47 heads, and I am not believing a word that comes out of your mouth. Right now, I can understand this. At the time, I didn't. He didn't believe us that we had found this baby in the woods, and we were like, "No, like we swear, like we swear." And Kayla
Why would that be the story you make up? Flat tire.
because it was insane. Like and again, like as an NCO now, like it's an insane story to hear. Like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, my troops they were outside the radius and then they found a baby in the woods." Like, you know, wild. Yeah, so that happened. You know, we got in trouble. It was deserved. We were outside the radius. Like we took full accountability for that. And then we worked that entire night, like into the next morning.
Wow.
It was a long day.
That
And
sounds like a long day.
We don't even know, like, and like the one thing that sucks about like medical in general, but like especially like EMS in general, is like a lot of the times you don't get the follow-up. Like you don't get to know what happens to like the patients or whoever. So
that's hard. Did your leadership end up believing you ever?
to be honest with you, I don't know. I really don't know if they did. Shit, I'll call Kayla right now and she'll tell you the same story. But it's yeah, I don't know if they ended up believing us. It was just kind of one of those things that like, you know, we're telling everybody like this shit is unbelievable. Like there was a baby in the woods. Like
it is.
wild.
That is unbelievable. What the heck?
Yeah. But yeah. Was what it was. I hope that they recovered and I hope that they're doing well. So
it's a very nice hope.
Yeah. It's really all you can do sometimes.
Yeah. That's freaking wild. What a story. What a story. Have you ever gotten a story as an NCO that's like
wild?
Yeah.
For like any like an excuse?
Maybe not necessarily like an excuse, but just like have you like is that common as an NCO? Because you get all the stuff.
Not here in my current job, but my very first airman. she ended up getting discharged because she was not it.
She couldn't cut it.
No. So God, this was a lot. Before, so I was her, what's it called? Sponsor. I was the sponsor. So, texting her, figuring out like details, like blah, blah, blah. She's like, hey, I'm married. My husband is PCSing from this location. Like, we are good. Like, yada, yada. It was right before Christmas. So I was like, okay, like, do you want to take leave? She was like, nah, I don't want to take leave. Like, I'm good. Like, it is what it is. So, okay. I'm talking to her. Everything's fine. She says that she has a house. Her husband's PCSing. She's like 24, like blah, 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 whatever. I was 20 at the time. 19. I was 19 or 20 at the time.
Young.
Which is important to this story. So probably like 2-3 days before she's supposed to like come, my flight chief calls me in the office and she goes, why did I just get a call from the phase 2 supervisor saying that this girl has not heard a word from her sponsor? And I was like, no, I've been talking to her for months. Like,
yeah,
like, that I've been talking to her for months. And she goes, I know that, but why did I just get this phone call? And I was like, I don't know. My flight chief was like, listen, you need to handle this, handle it. So, give her a phone call. And I'm like, hey, why did you lie? Like, what was the point of doing that? And she was like, I don't know. And I was like, okay, we're not off to a great start. That's bad. Like,
yeah.
And like, I really didn't know how to handle that at the time. I think now I would have handled it like a lot differently, whatever. So, first day, pick her up. We're sharing an office. I'm like, hey, you can decorate your desk however you want. You do you, like, whatever. So I don't remember. I think it was the same day. I come back into the office and her desk is fully decked out. And I'm like, where did all this stuff come from? Like, like with a desk, like you collect stuff over time. Like, it's not all in like one day.
And you learn what you might need in that environment so that it's going to differ.
Yeah. So, she's not in the office and I'm like looking at her desk and I'm like, oh, like blah, blah, blah. I start looking a little bit closer. Then I notice there's a theme. And the theme was Bob Marley and marijuana. And I was like,
okay, interesting military choice.
Like, interesting choice. And, there's very obvious like marijuana paraphernalia like on her desk,
which is
highly illegal.
Yeah, it's against. So anyone in the military, you're not allowed to invest in any drug paraphernalia, marijuana stocks. Promote it, not talk about it, but like use it, wear it. It's just in and out of uniform. It's a no. It's a no-go.
Yeah.
So at work, this is brave, which is
very bold, very brave and bold for a brand new
very
airman.
bold. Good Lord.
So, I pull her and I'm like, hey, I don't know what you're doing, but you have 30 minutes to get rid of all of this, or I will be getting rid of all of it. She didn't, so I got rid of it, right? I gave a deadline. She didn't meet the expectations. It was what it was.
Are you in uniform at work?
Yep. So
you're in. Okay, so this is someone in uniform.
Yep.
With drug paraphernalia.
Correct.
All right. I love it. Keep going.
This is the first week of her being here, by the way. Yeah. Like, so that same week, the following week was Christmas. A lot of the times, if you're in like a smaller clinical like med group, they will either do like Christmas or New Year's like week, and like you just kind of like rotate. So she had the following week off, and my flight commander had bought everybody a bottle of wine for Christmas. So
very generous gift.
So I was not old enough to drink. There was another one of our coworkers who was Muslim, so he did not drink. And it was what it was. She was my provider at the time. Like, she was the doc that I actually like worked for, like I texted for. So I was very close with her. I'm in the office talking to her. I don't remember if I was just talking to her or like giving her like the patient report, but brand new airman walks in, grabs a bottle of wine, and leaves. And my flight commander was like, that was odd. At this point, she hadn't met her yet. And she was like, that was weird. And I was like, you are correct. So,
you are correct. Yeah. That's so officer. Just wait till they leave. Odd.
Yeah. Odd. Weird.
Very officer. Odd, isn't it?
Yeah. So,
by the way, you are so good at telling stories.
Me?
Yeah,
love
you
telling
have a
stories.
gift of storytelling.
I
This
love
is
telling
like
stories.
I feel like I could see it, I could smell it, it's there. So don't let me stop you. I'm just letting you know this is
Oh
so
no,
good.
you're
This is
good.
so good.
Thank
I'm
you.
loving
I
this.
love telling stories. So it was that same day that my flight commander ended up finding out that she was in fact not 24. Like she had told us that she was 19. She
Shut
might have been
up.
20. She was 19 or 20. Not old enough to drink. I do know that for a fact. So, my flight commander pissed, right? Because she could get in a lot of trouble for this, like
Yeah.
giving alcohol to a minor.
Yeah.
So, or someone who's underage. So she, very calmly walks into our office, makes very dominating eye contact with the airman, snatches the bottle of wine off her desk and just walks out of the office. She later ended up getting paperwork for that. And then it's just kind of like everything started like spiraling. Like it was just one thing after another. She told me that she was in the Marine Corps and got medically retired. She told me that she got medically retired from the Marine Corps. Keep in mind she is 19 or 20, so it wasn't a thing. Because in basic they had given her boots that were too small and she got gangrene on her foot and she got discharged in basic training. And I was like, well, you would have gotten kicked out. You would have gotten ELS. Like you would have gotten medically retired, whatever. She told me that her mom was a doctor.
Wait,
And that
and you can't be prior service and join the Air Force.
you can.
You can?
You can be prior service and join a
Is it
different branch of service. There's just certain things that like have to do with it. Like I have some students, like I have students right now that were prior Army, prior Navy, like prior
am I
whatever it
thinking like
is.
you can't be prior Air Force and then join again?
No, you can.
You can? Maybe I'm
Mhm.
thinking of some weird rule that doesn't exist anymore. I thought, huh.
Yeah, no, you can definitely be prior service and then join a different branch or
Okay.
re-enlist. I've definitely seen that before.
Yeah.
So telling me all this stuff. Her mom was an ER doctor and that she was like 5 years old given IVs in the ER, like all this stuff, like blah, blah, blah. And then she brings up her husband. She had told me that her husband had PCS'd
Right.
from the base that he was at to a
Right.
different base. Her husband was never in the military and that she had lied and said that he was in the military. So,
Shut up.
that happened. There was another day where I was a PTL, so I basically like led PT for like my squadron. And we were at the gym and they just had to sign in with me and then go do whatever.
Yeah. That's a
She
nice setup.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she wore steel toe boots. I don't know why. We worked in family health. There was no rhyme or reason for her to be wearing steel toe boots, but she was
You're not
wearing
even
them.
issued those.
We were at the time because it was ABUs.
Oh.
Yeah, I forgot you're a baby.
Hey,
So,
question.
yeah,
How was her like attitude about all this stuff? Like,
terrible.
was she nonchalant?
She was
Was she like,
very matter
poor
of
me?
fact. She's very matter of fact when she like told these stories to us. Um,
But
and I
having the
don't,
commander come down and rip away a bottle of wine to get paperwork, you
yeah,
think
like I
somebody's
don't,
like get like oh my god, like stressed, like want to do better.
I don't think that she cared. Like I don't think that she understood like the magnitude of like what she was doing.
Huh.
So very odd, very, very, very odd. So this
This
day
is
at
crazy.
PT,
This is
she's
so
in
crazy.
full uniform, ABU, steel toe boots, walks up to me, signs in, and I'm like, "Hey, where's your PT gear?" And she was like, "This is my PT gear." She was like, "This is what we did in the Marine Corps. What do they call it? Boots and utes, whatever it is." And I was like, "Girl, the fuck? Like, what are you doing?" I watch her walk over to the treadmill. She sets the treadmill at like 12, 13 miles per hour. And I was like, there's no fucking way that she's about to do this right now. She like straddles the treadmill and starts like air running, puts her foot down, goes fucking flying off the treadmill. And I'm standing there, right? And I'm just
Oh my god.
watching this whole thing happen.
Was she taking some sort of brain changing substance?
To be honest with you, I genuinely don't know. I
Were those
genuinely don't
pupils
know.
locked in?
She never perceived per She never gave
Presented?
the perception or presented as if she was on drugs, but very odd.
Just a wild card.
Yeah. So, I walk over to her. Hey, are you okay? I'm fine. Stand up. All right. She's good. Walked away. She was good. She was fine. Next day, I get called in the flight chief's office. Flight chief tells me, who I was very, very close with. I'm still very close with her. She just made senior. She's doing amazing. Very happy for her. Yay.
Congratulations.
She calls me in the office and she was like, hey, why did she just tell me that you told her to kill herself? And I was like, what? Like, I am a very strong believer, and I carry this with true certainty in my heart, that I do not have hatred for anyone in this world, that I do not have the energy to put into hating someone in this world. Could I dislike you? Absolutely. Do I dislike people? Absolutely. And but to hear that come out of someone's mouth, like, that hurts, right? That hurts me. I would never, ever in a million years tell anyone that.
Well, that's just that's out of, like, accusations.
Yeah.
Self-harm.
Yeah.
Like, that is, like, that's it. In terms of accusations, that's pretty big.
Wild. So, I'm crying to my flight chief, and I'm like, that I would never do this. And she goes, I know, but I still had to ask the question. Like, and I was like, I understand, but, like, whatever. So, that happens. At this point, some other stuff had happened, and I was like, I don't think I can do this anymore. Like, she needs to not, I can't, like, this is too much. Like, this was my very first troop. Like, I can't do this. So they end up moving her to a different office. They take her out. I was this is like a couple days, weeks later. I go into the office. She was a very good artist. And I was looking at, like, she had, like, post-it art, like, up on her thing. And, like, there was, like, a whole bunch of doodles and, like, different kind of stuff. And then I started, like, reading them. And it's like death is the only way out. Like, suicide is the only option. Just a whole bunch of very, very morbid things. So, I go to my flight chief and I was like, hey, like, this is what's happening. Like, I'm kind of concerned, like, whatever. So, she was taken care of. She goes off, does what she has to do, comes back. This whole time as well, she would tell us that she was pregnant, and then she had a miscarriage. She was pregnant, she had a miscarriage. And, like, again, working in women's health and, like GYN and stuff, like, there's a very, like, soft spot in my heart for, like, women who have, like, continuous miscarriages and stuff, and, like, just
it's a devastating
heartbreak that, like, comes out of that. And I can't empathize because I've never been in that situation, but, like, as a woman, I feel like you feel that. So this whole time she's telling us all of this stuff and all just everything. So she comes back and she, like, announces at the morning huddle that she was pregnant with identical twin boys. And we were like, are you sure? Like, because she had told us so many times. It was like the boy who cried wolf. So,
and also for people that aren't tracking, you can have a positive at home, take home urine stick test. You can have that. However, you are not declared pregnant until you have
get it confirmed.
A confirmation test with a provider. Not saying that we don't believe you're pregnant. It's just in a medical setting, we have to have science show with accuracy aside from a sticks. And it's so you have to find out, call, make an appointment, go in, get the results, which is usually same day. And then to know how many you are having, that's a couple months.
Yeah. So
that's a couple months. You don't even get the little gummy bears until however long. So for that to be an overnight.
Yeah. We were like, hey, girl, how far along are you? She goes, oh, I'm 4 weeks. Girl, you don't even know that you are pregnant yet. You have not even missed your period yet. Like, what do you mean that you, whatever. So
yes, because you have to miss your cycle. You have to miss your cycle by a week. So it's 30 days plus 7.
I mean, some people do know, like, a lot of the home tests, you can test like 5 days before your next miss period, like, whatever.
Okay.
And, like, if you're if you're tracking that and you're, like, trying to conceive, like, some people do know, and, like, it is what it is. But So she started doing this thing where she would go into the patient room and she would say, hey, to the patient, she would say, hey, I'm pregnant. So if I throw up, please excuse me. She started throwing up in the patient rooms with the patients
Wait,
in there.
wait, how did you find out? Did a patient tell you? Or like what how did
Yes. Yep. A patient had told me and then, started
Shut
investigating.
up.
But so what had happened was I had another airman, and this airman, the bathroom was like right outside of my office, and this airman was so sweet. She's doing so good. She's AE now, and she was like, "Hey,
Which is air evac. Air evac.
yeah." She was like, "Hey, just so you know, like she's throwing up in the bathroom again." So, like I walk outside of my office. When I tell you the walls were painted in vomit. And was that this episode? This is a longer one. We're gonna have to edit this one down. But talking about ICKS, I can't do vomit, right? When
Yeah.
I tell you walls were painted up the toilet, down the toilet, like ceiling vomit exorcist style, and I'm like, what is happening? Like, oh my god. So, go back to her supervisor, tell her supervisor, she kept doing this, like throwing up everywhere, like in the rooms, like blah blah blah, all this stuff. The supervisor had gotten one of those 5-gallon Lowe's buckets and made her walk around with it because she was just throwing up everywhere. So that happened. We're almost getting to the end. We're almost getting there. So
You're killing this. I'm so invested. This is so good.
Yeah. A patient had come in. I had to do a peer review. So for the people that don't know what peer reviews are, basically like you go in and you pick like random charts of patients that have been seen by this person, and you go in and you essentially assess the note and like just how they're doing and like that kind of stuff, like making sure that it's like good documentation. So I was doing a peer review on her, and I had pulled from like a week prior, and like it was like a patient a day, like just going through. It was like seven peer reports, and what I started noticing was that these patients all had the same vital signs. Blood pressure 120 over 80.
No.
Respir's 14. Temperature 98.3. Heart rate at 70. All these patients. So I go into the chart.
Classic 120 over 80.
I know, that's a unicorn. The unicorn.
Pressure.
Yeah.
That's
so
nuts.
I go into the chart for that day, and I open up one of the things, and this patient specifically was in there for, I don't remember, I think it was like headaches or something, or like visual changes, something along those lines, right? Blood pressure 120 over 80, temperature 98.3, all this stuff. Well, this patient is still there. So I go into the patient room and I said, hey patient, hi, like I'm Riley, like I'm just gonna go ahead and take your blood pressure really quick. Is that okay with you? Patient's like, yeah. Patient looks like shit. The patient looks sick. Patient looks awful. I put the cuff on him to the machine, and it pops up as an error message. So I was like, okay, let me grab my stethoscope. I go back in. Patient's blood pressure was like 220 over like 160. And he was like verge of stroking out.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say
she had documented that it was 120 over 80, and he was a symptomatic hypertensive patient. So, this all went into the peer report. Everything happened. At this point, she gets pulled from patient care. No, not yet. Sorry, reverse.
What?
I noticed all this stuff, and I'm pissed. I'm mad. I go up to her and I was like, hey, this is unacceptable. This is bullshit what you're doing. That patient in that room is very, very sick. We literally just called ambulance services to transfer this patient out. Like, this is disgusting, your behavior right now. It's like a fucking light switch went off, and she tells me that she's going to claw my eyes out. I'm sorry, what? I'm not entertaining it. And she was like mad. She was like, I'm gonna claw your eyes out. So I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm out. Whatever. Report her. She gets pulled from patient care. A couple other things had happened. Something else had happened, and she had said that she was gonna shoot up the med group. And like that was like the last straw at this point. Like she had gotten paperwork after paperwork after paperwork, and she hadn't even hit 180 days. And so if you don't know, like 180 days is like it's when you can like really be like good, but it has to be the first year of service to ELS someone, so entry level separate someone.
Yep.
And they ended up entry level separating her for failure to adapt. And it was like 2 or 3 days before her 1 year mark.
Damn.
And I have her blocked on literally everything because she's
I don't blame you.
terrifying. She found my shit the other day. I say the other day a lot. That could be 2 days ago. That could be 10
just
years
say
ago.
it. I'm here for it.
Yeah, don't know. The other day, this was a while ago, probably like 6 months ago. She found my TikTok and commented on it and was like, "Hey, I know we weren't super close, but I hope you're doing well." What? What? Get away from me.
Maybe she got the help she needed and she's trying to redeem herself. But no.
She ended up having a child. She actually was pregnant. She had a single girl.
Oh.
Yeah. It was not identical twin boys.
I can't believe that you can threaten to shoot up a med group and not get charged.
She was arrested.
She was?
Yeah, that was like the day that everything happened. She like threatened to shoot up the med group, and then that was literally it. Like security forces came in, took her CAC from her, arrested her like on the spot, took her out.
That's
She
so scary.
also, this is my last part, girl, I swear. We had a patient. I had walked out into I was bringing something to lab, and there was this old patient sitting in a wheelchair. The spouse of that person is standing next to them, like yelling their name. I like ran over there and I was like, "Hey, like what's going on?" She was like, "I don't know, like he just stopped responding to me, like whatever." So I hit him with the sir, are you okay? Like the classic,
let's go the freaking shoulder tap. Let's go.
And I guess I was a little too aggressive, and he started sliding out of the wheelchair, and I'm like, "No, sir!" Like pulling him back up, and I was like, "Fuck it," put him on the ground. It's very, very, very weak pulse. Like I'm sternum rub, nothing. So call for a rapid response. They come out. They all start working on him, like all this stuff. He's on the ground. I don't remember if he might have been strapped into a board. I think he was strapped into a board at this point. And he starts doing a little shoulder jerk. And that means one of two things. And I had picked option A for this patient was about to have a seizure, because when we found him, his blood sugar was like 20 something. So it was like insanely low.
Oh.
So I was like, oh, he's about to start seizing. In fact, it was option B, the projectile vomits. So
that's what you can't handle.
I know,
the vomit.
I can't. So I'm there with him, and he projectile vomits upwards, back down, roll him over. There's like a 4 foot, 5 foot, 6 foot puddle of vomit like next to this man. Oh. I see her running. Oh my God. With a stethoscope. That's all she has in her hand. It's like a slow motion, dude, that I watched this happen. Running, sprinting. She's planning her entry onto this scene. Hands and knees sliding in the vomit as she's like that's what she does. That was her entry. That was her chosen golden entry ticket. Spraying everybody on the side. And I'm just standing there mortified because she was still mine at this point. And I was like, what the fuck? And like everyone knew about like everything. It was so bad. The flight chief was like, get the fuck away from my patient. Like, what the fuck do you think that you're doing? Like freaking the fuck out.
Well, first off, like even going with like not thinking in tech school, you are taught how to approach a patient and how to handle that. Yeah. Like they drill that in and out of you. Yep. And you never rush, you never do anything stupid. Mm-hmm. And it's a very slow, what is it called when you're taking in your surroundings? Situational awareness.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Like huge in that. So the fact that somebody went through all that school, all this, and then is going here and it's an actual patient, and then you've already gotten all your jitters out of you in phase 1 and phase 2, and that's crazy.
Yep. So, I go back and I'm like, what are you doing? And she was like, I can go home now. And I was like, says who? She was like, I'm covered in vomit. And I was like, go shower. I gave her scrubs, like not even scrubs. It was like the patient, the little blue paper shorts.
Yeah.
was like, here you go.
Oh,
You can wear these for the rest of the day, because I was not about to give her the satisfaction of leaving, right? I gave her soap, gave her towel, go shower, girl.
I mean, you had the anal mucus and you didn't go home.
Yeah, right. She was fine. So my other friend, other airman, she was actually pregnant, very newly pregnant, like very like looks at you in the wrong direction, gags at you, kind of pregnant.
Oh, she had bad morning sickness.
She did, yeah. So
Oh.
we had a long weekend. We come into the clinic and we're like, wow, something smells really, really bad. So, we start walking around. We're the only people there. Start walking around trying to figure out like what this smell is, like whatever. We get down to the very last room and like I know whatever this smell is in this room. No one had been there in 4 days. 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
We open up the door. My friend immediately starts gagging, pushes me into the room, closes the door, and is like holding the door. And I'm like, oh, please. The smell, like my eyes are watering, like whatever. She had taken the vomit-filled clothes, put them in a biohazard bag, and left the biohazard bag in that office because that doc had been out. So it was really 5 days that the clothes had been festering in vomit for 5 days.
Instead of just disposing of the bio.
Correct. She also wore a black short bob wig from Party City, like the real synthetic ones.
The shiny, glossy ones.
She did, yeah. And we're all standing there one day, and one of the providers we were working for, he's from Trinidad, great guy. He's telling a story, laughing at his own story, like all this stuff, and she's standing there, and all of a sudden she rips this Party City wig off and throws it at him, and he was like, when I tell you, he was like on the ground, like crawling, laughing, and like there was no point of her doing that. Like she was not even involved in the conversation. She just like took it off and was like, just stood there. Yep. Hope she's doing well.
I think you blocking her was probably a good idea.
Yeah, a little.
I think that sounds, even if, assuming from that comment made, there's been growth, healthy healing, all the good stuff. There's too much of.
There was a lot of mental instability.
Yeah, there's a lot of how that's when I'm like, how did this person make it through basic?
Apparently, well, I had started asking around because like when we get new troops, like usually like a lot of them like kind of come in at the same time, like ish, like iffy. So I had asked like a couple of the other girls that had come in with her, and I was like, hey, like what was she like? And they were like exactly the same. And I was like, why did they not entry level her back then? Like how did we get to this point now?
Yeah.
Ooh, wild.
That's wow.
But again, I hope that she's doing good. I really, really do.
Yeah, that sounds, I mean, that's wild to come from all one person.
Yep.
That's great. But I got to tell you, your storytelling, Riley, so good.
Love telling
so freaking good. I couldn't even say anything because I was just so like I was just leaning in. I was just,
thank you.
That was so good. I think this was one of my most. I think this was my favorite episode so far.
Yes, I'm a yapper. Literally just two girls yapping.
That wasn't yapping. That was storytelling. That was beautiful.
That was a good one.
Oh my God.
Well, folks, I think we're gonna wrap her up here.
Yeah.
What do you say? Meet at this time next Wednesday?
This time, yep. We'll drop an episode next Wednesday, and we don't know what the next one's gonna be.
Why don't you give us some suggestions?
Huh?
Why don't they give us some suggestions?
I think that's a great idea. So we have our first 3 episodes out, right? Boots Off Podcast. Follow the Instagram, YouTube, all that good stuff. But for what you guys want us to talk about next, like obviously she's currently active duty. I'm a veteran, but this isn't just military. It's kind of like a variety thing. So if there's any questions, topics, Riley really likes the Reddit threads. I think that was one of my favorites. And then what's the other thing you like? True
crime. I love true crime.
True crime. Yeah.
We're just
Yeah. So if there's
two girls.
any stories, any suggestions like that, put them in the comments. We'll be reading them, checking them out, responding to them. And then, yeah.
Yeah, we're excited to hear from you guys. And